Hi guys, and welcome to the Crystal Palace podcast with me, your host, Alfonso Greenbrook. Today in Pod 1, I'll be going over Palace's recent signings in Andros Townsend, Steve Mandanda and James Tomkins, as well as the departure of Dwight Gayle. In this pod, I'll also be giving my opinion on these new signings and what we can expect from them next season. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Crystal Palace so you can join in with the conversation. So let's begin. Crystal Palace have made the first signing of the summer, with England winger Andros Townsend putting pen to paper on a 5-year deal for a fee of £30 million. The 24-year-old arrives from Newcastle United, where he spent the second half of the 2015-16 season, having moved from Tottenham Hotspur in January, scoring 4 times in 13 appearances for the Magpies. After making his move back to his native London official, Townsend said, "I'm extremely delighted. I had chats with the manager and chairman before I signed, and I'm pleased to be part of Crystal Palace's future. By the sounds of things, it's going to be a bright one, and I can't wait to get started." Chairman Steve Parish added, "It's fantastic that we've managed to get a player of Andros' quality into the club. He has played in the Premier League for a number of years and has represented England on many occasions, and yet he's still only 25 years old. Andros is another exciting attacking talent that we have added to our ranks, and I can't wait to see him in a red and blue shirt in the very near future." Having come through the ranks at Spurs, Townsend broke into their first team in the 2010-11 campaign, and after enjoying numerous loan spells in the Football League, he went on to play a key role in Tottenham's midfield, making 93 appearances in all competitions. His former White Hart Lane saw him win the first of 11 caps for the Three Lions in October 2013, scoring in his debut against Montenegro. He was named as part of Roy Hodgson's provisional Euro 2016 squad earlier this summer, but wasn't selected in the 23 players who travelled to France for the tournament. Now for an exclusive interview with Andros Townsend following his move to South London.
Andros, welcome to your new club. How does it feel to have signed for Crystal Palace?
No, obviously I'm extremely delighted to have finally signed on the dotted line and can't wait for next week to join up and start pre-season. I enjoyed my time at Newcastle. I was loved by the fans. The manager was getting the best out of me, but at the end of the day I needed Premier League football at this stage in my career, and then it was sitting down and finding the right club for me, and I think that was the easiest decision out of the lot of them. You only have to look at the wingers that the club have got and how the manager's got the best out of them, and hopefully he can take my game to another level, and I can join that bunch and help Crystal Palace finish a lot higher than they did this season. I've played at Selhurst Park a few times, and the fans it's a tight pitch. The fans are right on top of you, and they're quite hostile when you're on an opposing side. So no, I think it's more like a foreign atmosphere where the fans are right on you. They're jeering your every touch, and it's definitely not a nice place to come as an opposing player. So I'm glad I've got them on my side now.
And obviously we've got a pre-season tour of the States to look forward to. Everyone's buzzing about that and getting really excited. Have you played out in the States previously?
Yeah, I've been out to the States a couple of times with Spurs. I think it's really taken off in America, hasn't it, the last few years. They're really passionate. They really get behind their clubs, and I think every game, every city that we went to with Spurs, it was a sellout crowd. They were unbelievable. When it's a signing session, they're queuing for miles, and they're really getting behind their football now in America, and I'm sure it'll be the same when we travel up there. The main thing is to build on. Last season, the club made an incredible start to the season. First half of the season, they were right up there. They got to a cup final, so I think it's just to build on last season and go hopefully one step better than they did last season.
Crystal Palace have completed the signing of goalkeeper Steve Mandanda on a 3-year deal from Marseille for an undisclosed fee. The French international is currently with his national team at Euro 2016 alongside new Palace teammate Johan Cabaye as the hosts prepare for their final clash against Portugal. He has completed a medical and will head to Selhurst Park at the competition's conclusion. 31-year-old Mandanda made 443 appearances between the posts for Marseille during 9 seasons of service at the Stade Velodrome, where he won 1 league title and 3 French League Cups. He has been named League One Goalkeeper of the Year on 4 occasions, including last season, and that fine form has seen him being capped 22 times for France since 2008. He's been named in 3 European Championship squads, as well as going to the 2010 World Cup. Born in DR Congo, his career started at Le Havre, where he made his professional debut in 2005. Following signing Mandanda, Chairman Steve Parish said, "I'm delighted that we've been able to bring Steve into the club. He brings a wealth of experience at both club and international level to us, and boasts a proven track record when it comes to winning trophies. I'm sure the Palace fans will enjoy watching him in action with us over the next few years." As Mandanda was at the Euros, he wasn't able to be interviewed by the press following his move to Crystal Palace, so instead of giving you an exclusive interview, I've put together a collection of stats about his career. Having spent his entire professional career in France, Mandanda has made a staggering 504 appearances in all competitions, and most of those have been at Marseille for 133. That number also includes an impressive 43 UEFA Champions League appearances and a further 31 in other European competitions. During that time at the Stade Velodrome, Mandanda has won the League One title once, 2009-2010, 3 Copa de Liga trophies, 2009-2010, 2010-2011, and 2011-2012, and 2 trophies to champions, 2010 and 2011. Individually, Mandanda is highly decorated and has been named the League One Goalkeeper of the Year on 4 separate occasions, including last season when he kept an impressive 9 clean sheets as Marseille finished 13th. Unsurprisingly, the 31-year-old was also named in the League One Team of the Year in the 4 occasions he won the Best Goalkeeper award. Over the past 3 seasons, only St Etienne's goalkeeper Stéphane Ruffier has played more games, 114, and more minutes, 10,260, in League One than Steve Mandanda's 112 games and 10,013 minutes. Mandanda has also been involved in 300 of the 304 League One match days since 2008 to 2009, more than any other player. No League One shot stopper has created more chances from open play than Mandanda's 4, level with Vincent Emiers over the past 4 seasons. Mandanda has made the 4th highest number of saves in League One over the past 3 seasons, 284. He has also made the third highest number of penalty stops during that time, 3. He has also successfully claimed more crosses, 231, than any other goalkeeper in the last 4 seasons in League One. Crystal Palace have completed the signing of James Tomkins from West Ham United on a 5-year contract for a fee of £10 million. The 27-year-old centre-back becomes the Eagles' 3rd signing of the summer after Andros Townsend and Steve Mandanda arrived last week, and having made the switch from East to South London, he will now link up with his new teammates just days ahead of their tour to the USA and Canada, which starts on Sunday. Moments after putting pen to paper on his Eagles contract, he said, "I'm really excited to be joining Crystal Palace, a massive club, and a manager in Alan Pardew that I know well, and I'll always be thankful for how he helped me develop in my younger days at Upton Park." Chairman Steve Parish also commented, saying, "I'm really pleased James has agreed to join us. He's someone Alan has wanted to sign at his own days from West Ham. I'm sure he is destined to become a huge part of our team as we look to build on the progress the club has made over the last 6 years. It's been a really positive transfer window so far. Everyone has worked really hard to make these deals happen, and I think we are much stronger because of them." Now for an exclusive interview with James Tomkins following his move south of the river.
Welcome to Crystal Palace. Tell us, how do you feel?
Yeah, no, I'm really excited, obviously, to be here. I had a long time at West Ham, nearly 20 years there, so since I was 8 years old. So it's a good change for me, and I'm really excited to get started here.
It must have been a huge decision to leave the club. As you say, you were there since you were a little boy. Why Palace?
It's a massive club, and I've worked with Pardew here before at West Ham when I was a scholar. He helped me through there. He got me trained with the first team when I was a kid, so he initially sort of got me started really in my career, which which I'm always thankful for. And it's obviously nice to get reunited with him and the staff that are obviously recognisable from the time that he spent at West Ham. And obviously Palace being a massive club, and it's a nice feel about the place, and a feeling that we're going places here.
You mentioned Alan Pardew. Was that a big draw then, given that you'd obviously worked with him some years ago at West Ham?
I've worked with him before, and he was been interested in signing me, but I think previously to this, and it was an easy decision in the end when I heard obviously Palace was interested, not just for him, but as a club, and obviously we've got good fans here as well. So I'm excited to get started. There's a great feeling around playing at Palace, obviously being a West Ham player, and it's a great atmosphere, quite close to the pitch, and that helps the atmosphere. I know Upton Park was like that, but when the place is rocking, it's rocking as well. So I'm looking forward to playing under that.
And what about England ambitions? Obviously there's a lot of disappointment in the England cap with the Euros. Now it seems to be a great opportunity for other players maybe to start to get a look in. I mean, a sustained period of playing top level Premier League football, so you're in the limelight a bit more. I mean, that's got to be great for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think as a kid, everyone's ambition, as a professional footballer, is to play for their country. That's the ultimate, really. And I've come here and seeking to play first team football and regularly as I can. And it's going to be a fight for places here, but everywhere it's healthy for a football club to have that. And like you said, my ultimate ambition is to play for England, but. As a new manager who's going to take control of England, and so everyone starts from scratch really. So it's all about impressing for your clubs to see where it goes and takes you. If you get called up for the international, so be it. So, first and foremost, it's all about playing well for your club, and that's what I'm looking to do here.
We're off to the States at the weekend. It's a great opportunity for you to get to know your new teammates, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been told a few of the players. I know Daniel Gabardon, that I've still keep in contact, was here, and he says how good the lads were, and I've only been here a day and I feel already settled in, and that's all thankful to the lads. A great bunch, and hopefully obviously I get to know them even more in pre-season. Like you said, I've started. I only started yesterday, so it's nice to start and have a proper full season under your new club, and I'm just looking forward to getting started and getting that fitness in me.
And finally, ambitions for this season. Obviously longer term it's maybe breaking into that England side, but what about Palace this season? What do you hope to achieve?
Hopefully we're aiming for the top half, I'm sure. I'm sure the gaffer's obviously not here yet, but it'll be interesting to see how he feels we can progress this year. And with the owners and the chairman, with how ambitious they are, with a few numbers coming in, I'm sure it'll add to the squad. And who knows? But I'm definitely thinking top half is a good goal to look at. That'll be an improvement from last year, and that's what you want as a team, and keep progressing. And I certainly feel that Palace are going places, and I want to be part of it.
Welcome to the club.
Thank you very much.
Now for the sub-story of the transfer window so far, the news that Dwight Gayle has left Crystal Palace to go to Newcastle United. Crystal Palace can confirm that striker Dwight Gayle has signed for Newcastle United for a fee of £10 million. The 25-year-old has passed a medical on Tyneside and joins the Championships club, having scored 25 goals in 74 appearances for the Eagles during his 3 seasons in South London. Signed from Peterborough United in the summer of 2013 for a then record club fee, the lively attacker enjoyed some fine moments in red and blue, including scoring a Boxing Day winner against Aston Villa, which took Palace out of the relegation zone the following December. And he will always be remembered in Eagles folklore for thanks to his late brace against Liverpool to complete a thrilling comeback when the sides drew 3-3 in May 2014. The club and myself would like to thank Dwight Gayle for all his efforts during his time at Selhurst Park and wish him the best for the rest of his career. Now it's come to the time and the part of the podcast for me to give my opinion on the recent signings who have joined Crystal Palace and who have left Crystal Palace. So I might as well start with both Andros Townsend and Dwight Gayle, because I feel that this was a sort of swap deal, even though we paid 30 million for Townsend and we got 10 million for Dwight Gayle. I feel that actually it was a sort of swap deal because Newcastle, we were taking one of their attackers, so we gave them one of ours. So it was a swap deal, even though it was said to be 2 separate deals. But as for Dwight Gayle, I might as well start with him. It's very sad to see him leave. Obviously, he's been one of the key players since our promotion to Premier League, and he did come for £6 million, a record club fee at the time, and he scored goals. Yes, he hasn't always, been one of these prolific strikers who scores maybe 20 goals a season. But whenever he was called upon, he was able to score goals like the brace against Liverpool, like the goal against Aston Villa. He was able to take these goals, and that's what you need. someone who can step up and score on crucial occasions. And that was the thing with Dwight Gayle, maybe he wasn't always given the opportunity to play, maybe because he was either injured or where he's quite small, he can't fit into our system of crossing the ball in. But whenever he has played, he showed us why he should be playing, his pace, his skill, his crossing ability, and also his set pieces. The last home game of the season against Stoke City, that wonderful free kick from about 25 yards, whipped it around the wall into the top right-hand corner. So, Dwight Gayle, he's got the talent, but I don't know whether, he can carry on like this. We want a striker at the club who can score goals. And yes, we know Dwight Gayle can score goals, but we want someone who can bang in goals. And I'll go on, after I've discussed all the new signings, about who I personally think may be coming into the club and whether they could help. And some of these players are actually, in the past, being prolific Premier League strikers. But, it's really sad to see Dwight Gayle go. I'm going to say a proven goal scorer because, 25 goals is pretty good in the Premier League, over 3 seasons. That's not that bad. That's, nearly 10 a season. And, just the way he creates the goals, his pace, everything like that just works really well together. And I think at Newcastle, in pre-season, Newcastle played a 4-4-2, and that is the formation Dwight Gayle does the best in. And if we had used that at Palace, maybe he would have stayed. And I think it would have worked with him and Wickham. But, he's moved on to help his career. Good luck to him. But now that moves me on to the new signing who's come in his place, I suppose, is Andros Townsend. It's a sign from Newcastle United. This guy is an absolute beast. Now, obviously, I'm recording this a few weeks after these signings have been made, so I've watched a few pre-season games, and Andros Townsend has been absolute class within these pre-season games. He hasn't scored any goals yet, but he's assisted about 3 goals out of the 4 goals we've scored so far in the 3 games in pre-season. So what does that show you? A really classy player. His sheer pace, his ability to find a pass, his ability to cut inside and hit one with his right foot and his left foot, which are both, I just can't believe how powerful they are. But as a player, he's absolutely superb. I think this is a player we sort of need. Yes, Zaha, Balassi, Sacco, they're very good players. They've got the pace, they've got crossing ability, but sometimes they can't find their end product. But now, we've got someone like Townsend who's got all of them attributes, the same as Zaha, Balassi, Sacco, but he's got that little bit more of end product. And we've seen that in pre-season. Yes, he hasn't scored yet, but them crosses he's done to deliver the goals have been absolutely superb. And, one of the games he almost scored. He hit it, he was whipped in the corner, got headed away. He went to hit it with his left foot. He was destined for the left corner, and luckily, unluckily for us, the goalkeeper saved it. But that is superb, another opportunity. He made a lovely sprint down the right-hand side of the wing, cut inside, hit one with his right foot, and it almost went in. The power on that shot was unbelievable, and the curl as well. But, we've brought ourselves, I think, 11, 12 million, whatever we speculated to pay for him, I think it's not enough for him. He's been absolutely class player. He just proves that the goals he scored last season, the free kicks he scored last season, and also a thing to point out is in pre-season, he's whipped in a few decent corners, Yes, we haven't scored from any of them, but them deliveries went exactly where he wanted them to go on a player's head. So he's just an all-round fantastic player. And I can't wait to see him next season, because it's just the pace, the passing, the crossing. It's just going to make us such a better team. The fact that we've got a player like this, who's also got a bit of leadership skills, possibly, but just his whole game is superb. And I can't wait to see him in a shirt, because I think with him, Yannick, Wilf, this will just be electric next season. And we've seen it in pre-season. He's been absolutely superb. And, maybe, possibly, with him moving to Palace, maybe, continuing his fine form, scoring about, let's say, 15 goals next season. If he can do that, I'm sure that if Sam Allardyce, who is speculated to become the next England manager as I speak, if he chooses to bring, I think he would, because that's the sort of player that Sam Allardyce likes. He doesn't like all these big players like Raheem Sterling. He likes the players who can get a job done, just keep playing simple football. And I think that just sums up Townsend all in one. He does simple football, he does the job, and he does it well. So I might as well move on now to Steve Mandanda. And obviously, where he's been at the Euros, there isn't really much to talk about him, really. But, in my opinion, probably the best goalkeeper in the French league, without a doubt. And obviously, the second best French keeper, as in international level. But an absolute class keeper we're bringing here. Now, I've seen highlights of his saves he's made this season, and he's been immense. Nearly every shot he saved were like that would have been destined to the goal. But he was able to stretch, save them, you know, by either hitting them out or deflecting them with his foot, and by punching them away. But seriously, this guy is an absolute beast. Why would he come to Palace? I don't know, but I'm so happy he did, because, you know, we've got a real, I would say, not say a world class, but someone who is, you know, one of these average players who's really good, but never really been up to the best. But certainly, the fact that he's come to Palace is going to be, you know, good for us next season. And yes, last season we had a bit of, you know, a tough time, let's say, with goalkeepers. But certainly, stuff like crosses weren't very good this season. But with Mandanda, like I said in the stats, he's been one of the best goalkeepers in the French league at claiming crosses, at punching crosses away. And I can't wait to see him in a Palace shirt, because this guy, if he's as immense as he's been in League One for Marseille, for Palace in the Premier League, I think he can be an absolutely superb goalkeeper. And I'm not going to say he's going to win the golden, whatever they call the award for goalkeepers. I don't think he might not win it for the clean sheets, but considering in a Marseille side that hasn't been that good this season, the fact that he kept 9 clean sheets just shows how good of a goalkeeper he is. And if he can do that for Palace next season, I'll be over the moon. But certainly we're getting a real professional player here, a player with good leadership skills. Obviously, he was the captain on Marseille, someone who's played at club level for many years, and someone who's played at international level. So he's got that experience, he's got that class, and hopefully that can help him, help himself, help our team develop. And the fact that he was the captain at Marseille just shows that he's not going to become the captain at Palace. I'm going to say that. No, I don't really want him to, because he's only just come into the club. But I've heard that Scott Dan's the new captain, which I'm quite happy about, because I think that he, out of the 3 nominees, obviously Jedinak and Delaney, he's probably the one most likely to start with the new signing, Tomkins, which I'm going to go talk about. But certainly, Scott Dan will probably do it. But the fact that we've got someone like Mandanda who can actually command the back line, tell them what to do, and then Dan commanding everyone else, I think it's going to work really well, because we've got so many leaders now in the team, which is going to help us to develop into a better squad. But certainly a very good signing in Mandanda. But now to move on to James Tomkins, obviously signed for £10 million from West Ham United. Some people may say, and I've spoken to a few West Ham fans, some say that this was too much for him, and it was speculated to be about £50 million. But I think 10 million is very good for a player in his prime. So obviously, he is, I think, 27 years old. So he's probably got about, maybe if he carries on to what Damien Delaney's age, he's got well over 7, maybe even 8 years ahead of him in his career. So we brought a player in his prime who is really solid for West Ham, who's a really, really good defender. He's got class. He can score goals as well. And I think we've got a really good defender here. And obviously, I've seen him in pre-season. He could have scored 2 or 3 goals from headers in pre-season. So what does that show you? He fits into the Palace job well, because the thing that Palace are known for, especially last season, is the fact that defenders score a lot of goals. And that's seen in the likes of Ward, Dan and Delaney. Both scored a lot of goals last season. So certainly we've got a player who can score goals, but that's not the main thing. The main thing is that he's this class defender. And yes, he's been 4th choice at West Ham, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad player. It just means that they've got better players. So they've just got someone who's slightly better, maybe slightly faster than him. But certainly that doesn't make him a bad player. It just means that he's been dropped out, being sort of a substitute person, let's say. Someone on the bench who's happy to sit there. But he wanted to move. He's coming to Palace, and he's probably going to get first team almost every week. With Damien Delaney getting slower, maybe he will have to obviously come in his place. But certainly a really class defender who's really good at defending, really good at getting the ball forward, at passing, also having shots, and his headering as well. So we've got a defender who can defend really well, but also someone who can attack very well as well. So there you have it. They were my opinion on the recent signings and what I really expect from them next season. But certainly all 3 of these signings, I think I can expect big things from them, because they're really class defenders, or not class defenders, but they're really class players who I think have got a lot of potential to be good. And, you know, especially Townsend. Townsend, he's 25 years old, and I think he can be an absolute star for us next season. Same with Steve Mandanda. He can be absolute class, making saves galore, keeping clean sheets, hopefully, if he gets played. And as for James Tomkins, he was the 4th choice for West Ham. But that doesn't matter, because we've got ourselves a class, and I must mention, English defender into the club. So there you have it. They were Palace's new signings, in my opinion. Comment below and across social media at eCrystalPalace with what you think of these new players and what you expect from them next season. So thanks for watching and remember to up the Palace.